If you are shallow, narrow-minded, or just oafish, then don't waste your time listening. But if diverse with a broad love of music, then this is a journey to not be missing. 150 years back, the guy who gave us the Cheshire Cat also gave a poem both funny and dark, the classic hunting of the Snark. In the beginning it was just red. Now it's time to put it to music instead.
"Just the place for a Snark," the bellman cried, as he landed his crew with care, supporting each man on the top of the tide by a finger entwined in his hair. "Just the place for a Snark, I have said it twice, that alone should encourage the crew. Just the place for a Snark, I have said it thrice, what I tell you 3 times is true." The crew was complete. It included a boots, a maker of bonnets and hoods, a barrister brought to arrange their disputes, and a broker to value their goods. A billiard marker, whose skill was immense, might perhaps have won more than his share. But a banker, engaged at enormous expense, had the whole of their cash in his care. There was also a beaver that paced on the deck, or would sit making lace in the bow, and had often, the bellman said, saved them from wreck, though none of the sailors knew how.
There was one who was famed for the number of things he forgot when he entered the ship. His umbrella, his watch, all his jewels and rings, and the clothes he had bought for the trip. He had 42 boxes, all carefully packed, with his name painted clearly on each. But since he omitted to mention the fact, they were all left behind on the beach. The loss of his clothes hardly mattered, because he had 7 coats on when he came, with 3 pairs of boots. But the worst of it was, he had wholly forgotten his name. He would answer to "Hi," or to any loud cry, such as "Fry me," or "Fritter my wig," to what you may call him, or what was his name, but especially Thingamajig.
While for those who preferred a more forcible word, he had different names from these. His intimate friends called him Candle Ends, and his enemies Toasted Cheese. His form is ungainly, his intellect small,
so the bellman would often remark.
But his courage is perfect, and that, after all, is the thing that one needs with a Snark. He would joke with hyenas, returning their stare with an impudent wag of the head. And he once went to walk paw in paw with a bear, just to keep up its spirits, he said. He came as a baker, but owned when too late, and it drove the poor bellman half mad. He could only bake bright cake, for which I may state no materials were to be had. The last of the crew needs a special remark, though he looked an incredible dunce. He had just one idea, but that one being Snark, the good bellman engaged him at once.
He came as a butcher, but gravely declared, when the ship had been sailing a week, he could only kill beavers. The bellman looked scared, and was almost too frightened to speak. But at length he explained, in a tremulous tone, there was only one beaver on board, and that was a tame one he had of his own, whose death would be deeply deplored. The beaver, who happened to hear the remark, protested with tears in its eyes that not even the rapture of hunting the Snark could atone for that dismal surprise. It's strongly advised that the the butcher should be conveyed in a separate ship. But the bellman declared that would never agree with the plans he had made for the trip.
Navigation was always a difficult art, though with only one ship and one bell, and he feared he must really decline for his part, undertaking another as well. The beaver's best course was no doubt to procure a second-hand dagger-proof coat. So the baker advised it, and next to ensure its life in some office of note,
This the banker suggested and offered for hire
On moderate terms or for sale.
2 excellent policies, one against fire and one against damage from hail. Yet still ever after that sorrowful day, whenever the butcher was by, the beaver kept looking the opposite way and appeared unaccountably shy.
The bellman himself, they all praised to the sky.
Such a carriage, such ease and such grace, such solemnity too, one could see he was wise the moment one looked in his face. He had bought a large map representing the sea without the least vestige of land, and the crew were much pleased when they found it to be a map they could all understand. What's the good of Mercator's North Poles and equators, tropic zones and meridian lines? So the bellman would cry and the crew would reply, they are merely conventional signs. Well, the maps are such shapes with their islands and capes, but we got our brave captain to thank. So the crew would protest that he's bought us the best, a perfect and absolute blank. This was charming, no doubt, but they shortly found out that the captain they trusted so well had only one notion for crossing the ocean, and that was to tingle his bell. He was thoughtful and grave, but the orders he gave were enough to bewilder a crew. When he cried, steer to starboard, but keep her head larboard, what on earth was the helmsman to do? Then the bowsprit got mixed with the rudder, sometimes a thing, as the bellman remarked, that frequently happens in tropical climes when a vessel is, so to speak, snark. But the principal failing occurred in the sailing, and the bellman, perplexed and distressed, said he had hoped at least when the wind blew due east that the ship would not travel due west.
but the danger was past. They had landed at last with their boxes, portmanteaus and bags.
Yet at first sight the crew were not pleased with the view, which consisted of chasms and crags.
The bellman perceived that their spirits were low, and repeated in musical tone some jokes he had kept for a season of woe, but the crew would do nothing but groan. He served out some grog with a liberal hand, and bade them sit down on the beach.
And they could not but own that their captain looked grand as he stood and delivered his speech.
Friends, Romans, and countrymen, lend me your ears. They were all of them fond of quotations. So they drank to his health, and they gave him 3 cheers, while he served out additional rations. We have sailed many months, we have sailed many weeks, 4 weeks to the month you may mark, but never as yet is your captain who speaks have we caught the least glimpse of a Snark. We have sailed many weeks, we have sailed many days, 7 days to the week I allow, but a Snark on the which we might lovingly gaze we have never beheld till now. Come listen, my men, while I tell you again the 5 unmistakable
unmistakable marks, by which you may know wheresoever you go the warranted genuine Snarks. Let us take them in order. The first is the taste, which is meager and hollow but crisp, like a coat that is rather too tight in the waist, with a flavor of will-o'-the-wisp. Its habit of getting up late, you'll agree that it carries too far when I say that it frequently breakfasts at 5 o'clock tea and dines on the following day. The third is its slowness in taking a jest. Should you happen to venture on one, it will sigh like a thing that is deeply distressed, and it always looks grave at a pun. The fourth is its fondness for bathing machines, which it constantly carries about, and believes that they add to the beauty of scenes, a sentiment open to doubt. The fifth is ambition. It next will be right to describe each particular batch, distinguishing those that have feathers and bite, and those that have whiskers and scratch. For although common Snarks do no manner of harm, yet I feel it my duty to say, some are boojums. The bellman broke off in alarm, for the baker had fainted away. For although common Snarks do no manner of harm, yet I feel it my duty to say, some are boojums. The bellman broke off in alarm, for the baker had fainted away.
Him with muffins, they roused him with ice, they roused him with mustard and cress, they roused him with jam and judicious advice, they set him conundrums to guess. When at length he sat up and was able to speak, his sad story he offered to tell, and the bellman cried silence, not even a shriek, and excitedly tingled his bell. There was silence supreme, not a shriek, not a scream, scarcely even a howl or a groan, as the man they called Holt told his story of woe in an antediluvian tone. My father and mother were honest, though poor. Skip all that, cried the bellman in haste. If it once becomes dark, there's no chance of a Snark. We have hardly a minute to waste.
I'll skip 40 years, said the baker in tears, and proceed without further remark to the day when you took me aboard of your ship to help you in hunting the Snark. A dear uncle of mine, after whom I was named, remarked when I bade him farewell, "Oh, skip your dear uncle," the bellman exclaimed as he angrily tingled his bell. He remarked to me then, said that mildest of men, if your Snark be a Snark, that is right. Fetch it home by all means, you may serve it with greens, and it's handy for striking a light. You may seek it with thimbles and seek it with care. You may haunt it with forks and hoe. You may threaten its life with a railway share. You may charm it with smiles and soap. That's exactly the method the bellman bold in a hasty parenthesis cried. That's exactly the way I have always been told that the capture of Snarks should be tried. But oh, beamish nephew, beware of the day if your Snark be a boojum, for then you will softly and suddenly vanish away and never be met with again. It is this that oppresses my soul when I think of my uncle's last words, and my heart is like nothing so much Yeah.
The bellman looked uffish and wrinkled his brow. If only you'd spoken before. It's excessively awkward to mention it now, with the snark, so to speak, at the door. We should all of us grieve, as you well may believe, if you never were met with again. But surely, my man, when the voyage began, you might have suggested it then. It's excessively awkward to mention it now, as I think I've already remarked. And the man they called High replied with a sigh, I informed you the day we embarked. You may charge me with murder or one of sense, we are all of us weak at times. But the slightest approach to a false pretense was never among my crimes.
I said it in Hebrew, I said it in Dutch, I said it in German and Greek, but I wholly forgot, and it vexes me much that English is what you speak. These are pitiful tales of the bellman whose face had grown longer at every word. But now that you've stated the whole of your case, more debate would be simply absurd. The rest of my speech he explained to his men, you shall hear when I've leisure to speak it. But the Snark is at hand, let me tell you again, 'tis your glorious duty to seek it,
To seek it with thimbles, to seek it with care, to pursue it with forks and hope, to threaten its life with a railway share, to charm it with smiles and soap. For the Snark's a peculiar creature that won't be caught in a commonplace way. Do all that you know and try all that you don't. Not a chance must be wasted today. For England expects, I forbear to proceed. 'Tis a maxim tremendous but trite. And you'd best be unpacking the things that you need to rig yourselves out for the fight.